Hello, my friends. I want to start with something personal today. Recently, I had a long, quiet conversation with an 82-year-old gentleman named Walter. His hands were folded in his lap, his eyes fixed on the floor, as if he was replaying the last few years of his life in his mind. And then he said something that stayed with me.
Doc, if I could turn back time, I'd make one different choice. I wouldn't have moved into a nursing home when I did.
At first, it surprised me. Nursing homes, after all, are often seen as places of safety, comfort, and care. And for some, they truly are the right choice. But as Walter began to open up, I realized this wasn't about blaming anyone. It was about understanding the reality behind a decision that changes everything. Today, I want to share with you Walter's 6 biggest regrets, in his own words, but with my perspective as a doctor who has walked these halls and seen these stories unfold hundreds of times. My hope is simple, that you'll hear these lessons before you or someone you love takes that step, so you can make the decision with both eyes wide open. Regret number 1, losing my independence. Walter told me the first shock came fast.
It wasn't the small room or the set meal times that got to me, he said. It was realizing I no longer had control over my own life.
At home, he woke up when he wanted. He chose his meals. If the sun was shining, he'd grab his hat and walk to the park. If he wanted coffee at 10, no one stopped him. But in the nursing home, life ran on someone else's clock. Breakfast was served whether you were hungry or not. Lights out came whether you were tired or not. Even a simple walk outside often required permission and patience until someone was available to assist.
Doc, I didn't realize how much those small freedoms meant until they were gone.
And here's the truth: once you hand over your independence, getting it back is rarely easy. You adapt because you have to. You stop asking for exceptions. Slowly, without meaning to, you lose pieces of yourself. Ask yourself, are you ready to give up those little freedoms? The ones that make life yours? Because they might be the very things you miss most. Regret number 2, feeling forgotten. When Walter moved in, his family promised to visit often, and they did at first. His daughter came every Sunday, his grandchildren on Saturdays. But as weeks turned into months, life outside kept moving without him.
I'd sit in the common room, Doc, watching the door, hoping today would be the day someone remembered.
It wasn't that they stopped loving him. Life just happened. Schedules got busy. Phone calls replaced visits. Holidays were the hardest. So many promises, so many last-minute changes. Here's something I've learned as a physician: distance doesn't just measure miles. It measures connection. And the longer someone is out of sight, the easier it becomes for them to be out of mind. Ask yourself, are you prepared for the loneliness that might follow? Because even the most loving family can forget how much you still need them when you're not part of their daily lives. Regret number 3, losing my sense of purpose. Walter had always been a man of action. At home, he had projects, chores, hobbies, reasons to get up in the morning. Even watering his plants or making his own coffee gave him a quiet sense of accomplishment. In the nursing home, those daily rituals disappeared. Meals were prepared for him. Laundry was done for him. There were no plants to tend, no projects to build.
It felt like I went from living my life to just filling my time.
I've seen this often. Purpose is not just about staying busy. It's about having something meaningful to do, something that makes you feel needed. Without it, the mind slows, the body follows, and the spirit dims. Ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? And will you be able to keep it alive in a place where so much is done for you? Regret number 4, declining health faster than expected. Before Walter moved in, he was doing well for his age. He wasn't running marathons, but he cooked his own meals, took walks, stretched every morning. These small habits kept his muscles strong and his energy up. In the nursing home, life became easier, but in the wrong way. No more cooking, fewer walks, more time sitting.
Within months, I felt weaker. Getting up from a chair became harder. I didn't even notice it happening until it was too late.
It's something I tell my patients often: if you stop using your body, you start losing it. And in an environment designed for convenience, it's dangerously easy to slow down without realizing what's at stake. Ask yourself, will you have the motivation to keep your body moving when everything is set up to make life effortless? Regret number 5. Losing privacy and dignity. At home, Walter could close his door, take his time, and live on his own terms. In the nursing home, privacy became a luxury. Staff came and went. Room checks were routine. Even bathing often required help.
I know they were doing their jobs. But it's hard to be treated like a patient when you've been your own person your whole life.
And then there was sharing a room with a stranger, something many seniors face. Even with a kind roommate, it never truly felt like home. Dignity, Walter told me, isn't something you notice every day until you feel it slipping away. Regret number 6. It's harder to leave than you think. Perhaps the biggest surprise for Walter was how difficult it was to leave once he'd moved in. I told myself it was temporary, he said. If I didn't like it, I'd go home. But by the time I realized I wanted out, my house wasn't the same.
My things were gone. My strength was gone. And so was my confidence.
It's a reality few talk about. The longer you stay, the harder it is to return to independent living. Sometimes it's because of health changes. Sometimes it's financial. Sometimes it's simply because the old life no longer fits. Ask yourself, are you ready for the possibility that moving in might be a one-way door? Walter's words are not meant to scare you, but to prepare you. Nursing homes can be the right choice for some, especially those with medical needs that can't be met at home. But for others, the trade-off in independence, connection, purpose, and dignity is greater than they ever imagined. If you are considering this move, I urge you, explore every option for staying in your own home with support. Ask for help from family, friends, and community services before giving up your freedom. Think about not just where you will live, but how you will live.
If I could do it again, I'd fight harder to stay in my own home for as long as possible.
And maybe that's the lesson we all need to hear.